You know what it is, man. Granddaddy you, man. Here, my man. Speak no evil. Drop a gem, motherfucking TV, man. You
100.
don't know, nigga. If you never knew, now you do.
Never knew, now you knew, nigga. Indeed.
Bam.
Talent really coming from out of Staten Island, and I'm even though I'm classic, I've never reached my height. It's like, there's a lot
Right.
of things for me being with MCA and so forth, and
Right.
getting caught up and ate up by the industry and spit back out. Me even being here right now talking to you guys, I take it as a blessing.
No doubt.
So I plan on capitalizing and getting my story out. The reason why I did come back, because, several people had me written off.
No doubt.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about that. So talk about growing up in Shaolin in the 80s. Talk about what that was like from a hip hop perspective in terms of what was growing up. Because, we always hear stories about how Capadonna was like Slick Rick, the best rapper in the hood. RNS was the original RZA. Talk about what that was like with the UMCs, Force MDs, and what it was like seeing perspective from the Shaolin, from the Staten Island viewpoint, so to speak.
All right. So I'm going to rewind a little bit. Now, this is where I could take you. Now, RNS, he used to be part of a group called Status. They was like the bootleg Force MDs.
Okay.
And there was like five of them, you know what I mean? And so what R did, he was this TT at the time. He branched off when we used to go to like in high school. He always had a love for the music, DJ and stuff like that. But when we got into high school, he gravitated towards Mr. Moriali. He was like a music teacher. He taught all how to connect all these shit, boom, 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 boom. So I used to be on a football team and all that good shit going to class. I wasn't really like an outcast. A lot of the
Right.
clan, like Capadonna and this, that, and the third, and I love them, OG or whatever the case may be. That's Paul Kill.
Yeah.
Like 80% of Wu-Tang is from Paul Kill. But when Wu-Tang first started, it was in Stapleton. Now,
Right.
like going back to R&S, when he started in Moriali's room and boom, 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 I was one of the first people to go in Mr. Moriali's room and we made a diss track. And at the time, Stapleton and Paul Kill used to, rival against each other. So being a
Right.
young me, my first, I was dissing Paul Kill, and we used to play it in 49 Center. But that was the start. Because
Right.
at that time, nobody in Stapleton and Paul Kill really had a producer where you could go up to their house and get music done. So once R learned how to do that shit in Mr. Moriality's room, he started piecing together pieces of equipment and was up in his house on the first floor. Miss Ann's, rest in peace to Miss Ann, that's his mom's. So, but R's house was like an open house, like, you know what I mean? Nobody was really going to school. I was going to school, but a lot of these dudes wasn't going to school. It was a crack era. You know what I mean?
Right.
So Ghostface, like, he was going up to Paul Kill, robbing these dudes, and all that shit is true. You know what I mean?
Word.
But Stapleton was the gutter. It was the grot. You couldn't run through Stapleton and do what you want. But to have R&S, that's where we released our energy and our strength. We go up there and make songs after songs after songs after song. I was like one of his favorite students. Anybody can tell you from when we started recording to I must had 100 street hits. We do the 4-track till we got to the 8-track. We put it on the cassette. We sling it to the streets. We in the Canyons thumping. Pop the Brown Hornet.
doubt.
I was that dude, and anybody can tell you I was that dude when it was time, because nobody had an R&S. So by the time the RZA and them to play, now up in Park Hill was DMD. They was Dick 'em Down, BCC, Avenue Crew. That was a whole different. OG at the time, he became Cal. OG was the street legend up there in the rec room and all of that. You know what I mean? But it was a whole different movement in Stapleton. We was the Gladiators. We was Wu-Tang. Paul Kill was anti-Wu-Tang at the time. Now,
Right.
now RZA becomes the common denominator because RZA was in the music, right? He was on Tommy Boy. Oh, we love you, Rakim. Maybe he came out with
No doubt.
right. So what Tommy Boy do? They ran their money behind Trex. You know, with OPP, right? They ran with that. They didn't run down with that. Oh, we love you, Rakim. That was kind of what he had to do. He had to come back. He had to regroup.
Right.
That's what UMC's was already out, right?
Yeah, blue
Shaheed
cheese and all that.
Blue cheese
RNF
and all that,
produced
yeah.
too, right?
Now check it. Now UMC's was already out. They went on the road. They got discs of music. They gave it to R. R in return gave some of the discs to RZA, which
Wow.
which helped them make the 36 chambers. A lot of them music and shit that the UMCs got off their tour and gave the R gave the RZA. So when I say this shit is connected, but only one regime's been eaten, there's a lot of people that's like, there's a lot of, trust me, feel me? So when you got the Hulu story and the third, there's a lot of other stories that need to be told. This is not a one-sided story. So that's why the Brown Hornet, when I came back 4 years ago with King Just, with the Emperor and the King, the best of both hoods.
Best of both hoods, 2016,
Right, Emperor and the King. What I go do? I went and got King Just. He's from Park Hill. Emperor and the King. Just to let the world know that there's unity out here.
Right.
Right after I left KJ, what I went and do? I went and got Phantom of the Beat, UMCs. He produced the Foreman Mandela album.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Love that project.
Another classic Staten Island group. UMC, right?
Right.
Bringing you up to date to the latest with the Force MDs. So all I'm saying is that, there's a love for Staten Island music out here. We've been exiled from it. But Brown Hornet, I'm like that superhero for Staten Island. Like I'm Staten Island's big brother. I'm not gonna go out quietly. We're gonna make music, and it's gonna be good music. That's what I want to bring forth. You know what I mean?
You know what's funny talking about Haas G, Phantom of the Beat, because we interviewed him and he talked about how, especially on the first UMC's album, they shouted out Wu-Tang. They're the first group to ever mention the words Wu-Tang before we heard Method Man, 36 Chambers, and Protect Your Neck and all that. So, that's when it was. Go ahead.
Why is that? And the reason being is now Haas G is originally from Brooklyn. So when Haas G moved to Staten Island, he came to Stapleton. You feel me? And Stapleton is where he found his musical juices because R&S was the one who infused him. You know what I mean? When Haas G came to Staten Island, he was out there playing or building tag, all of that. And while we was doing all of that, some of us used to go up R's house. And when he found, it was like when he was connecting with Kim at the Statue of Liberty, and that's where Meth and all the rest of them work. Remember Meth and all of them work.
Yeah, you got and all them. Yep.
All right. Haas G was there. So was Kim. That's how they formed the UMCs. You know what I mean? They formed that from rhyming from the Statue of Liberty to Boat, and then going to Midtown and all of that, doing these events. That's how they formed. But when they came to do their album, they came up to the Temple with the Stapleton, R&S's house, and the Wu-Tang movement was already in motion. We was already doing Wu-Tang songs. It was a part of our. Well, if I said, "Yo, God, let's go get some Wu juice," do you know what you came back with?
What? I
can't tell you. And half the clan probably can't tell you unless Ghost told him. But like I said, that's what was he was 16, 17, 18. This is where it started. And the reason why it started because you gotta understand, like he said, Kappa and Ghost, they were Slick Rick fans. You know what I mean? And Ghost also loved the Fat Boys. One time me and Ghost was in the project, he's like, yo, who do you think is better because he knew I was a big Run DMC fan. So he's like, Run DMC or the Fat Boys? I was like,
Run all day.
I was like, Run DMC is slaying them. Get out of here, man. He was like,
no question.
He's like, yo, you better recheck that, yo. But I love the Fat Boys. When I be hearing them, I understood I understood what he meant because the rawness of the Fat Boys and the hip hop and because trust me, Ghostface, he's like original B-boy. He used to do the beatbox. We used to call him Doug before he was Ghost. He used to do the beatbox. He used to do the windmill, all that shit. So he really came from the gutter. So to see him successful and big is always a blessing. It was always.
Oh shit.
Yeah. I'm grateful for seeing like the whole Wu-Tang Clan. Because if you would have said who was the most likely to succeed, and you would have had them up there in that junior high school, probably near there when one of them would have been the ones that you would have pointed out. So to have them successful, they know they were like outcasts that was like, but that's like a kid that never had a toy. Period. And that's how I look at the Klan, because I feel like the Klan, the Wu-Tang movement could have been so much larger.
Right.
You feel me? Because RZA had the power to say, when you look like King Just, you know what I mean? He from Park Hill.
Yep.
RZA could have produced the shit out of him. Shaheem.
Yeah, classic.
You know, Shaheem is from Stapleton, and he grew up under that GP umbrella. He idolized that Klan. RZA, you know what I mean? There's so many elements.
No doubt.
Like when Jermaine Dupri came out in the ATL, what'd he do? Whether he gave TLC away, he took crisscross road for them, blew them up, and touched everything coming out of ATL, where everybody in their mom was like, I want to go to ATL. In the 80s, you couldn't get me to go to ATL. I wouldn't visit my cousins. They was killing kids. They was killing the kids down there in ATL.
Right.
And I was like, oh,
that.
That's a fact.
I ain't going down there. Now, you can't stop them.
That's the Mecca right now.
And that's how Staten Island was supposed to be. It was supposed to be a hot spot. It was Wu-Tang Clans, King Just, the Brown Hornet.
You're right.
We're supposed to be fanatical out here.
You're right. Well,
Wu-Tang is supposed to have a museum on Staten Island.
You're right. You're right.
Not no art on a wall. That's how big, you know what I mean? That's how I see the movement of Wu-Tang.
We'll talk a little bit about that from, you